Hey everyone, Sierra here from Art and Affirmations by Sierra. Today I am working in like a Ranger mixed media journal, and I was inspired by a tarot card with some like hues of blue and yellow and green in the background. And so I went to my art space and I grabbed my paints in that color palette, um, and I'm bringing you the process of creating that art journal spread in my mixed media journal. The first step I'm showing you here is I just grabbed some of my collage papers that were lying on my desk just to get something down on the background. Knowing like these are going to be mostly covered up, it just kind of gets you started with the blank page and putting something down. So that's what's happening here. So I let them dry a little bit, and I'm peeling off just a little layer of the book page just to kind of create some texture in the background. I think I needed to let it dry a little bit longer because it wasn't peeling up as I was hoping it would have. But again, this is mostly going to be covered up, so you just keep on going. Next step is grabbing some paint and putting it on the page. I'm putting a little bit on each side just to make kind of a cohesive spread, and I'm applying it with a palette knife. There are so many different ways to experiment with getting paint on the page, and I encourage you to kind of use a palette knife and see how that feels to you, versus a paintbrush or your finger or other tools, sponges, credit cards, just to name a few. But yeah, just play, experiment in your journal practice. So after all those layers were dry, and I used my heat gun for a lot of it because I don't like waiting around for paint to dry. I don't know about you, but that's kind of how I am. Um, and then I came in with the next layer, which is I grabbed some acrylic ink with some water to help move that ink around the page, and then a paintbrush to come in and also help move that paint around on the page. I wanted to highlight some of that neon green that was popping through from the acrylic paint, and so that's why I chose the neon green acrylic ink, and also the more shimmery acrylic ink that you'll see in the next frame here in a darker shade of turquoise. At this point, I felt like that green was kind of like overpowering the page and the spread. And again, this is all like just intuitive art play. The only thing I had in mind when I came to my art space was the color palette that I wanted to work with. And it just organically and intuitively is coming together as you see in my process. So I added some white paint, watered down white paint, with the fan brush, put on some white splatter, and then tapped it onto the page just to create some bigger splotches of white. And then grabbed some napkin pieces in the same kind of color family and put those down on the page with some Mod Podge, just building that next layer. So here I grabbed just a piece of copy paper, and a fine liner pen, and doing some doodling, leaf doodles as a focal image for the next layer, and then fussy cutting it out. So working through the spread, these next layers is just kind of deciding where I want to put my focal point, and also deciding like what does the page need, like what is it was all kind of looking like one color. And so I grabbed some of my handmade tissue paper, and just playing around with what I had on my desk and seeing what looks good, and just enjoying the process of creating, and figuring out what speaks to me. So the butterfly wasn't working. So I saw this cute little rose. It's that kind of looks like a stamp. I found it in a magazine. Uh, Cut that out from an earlier project, and it was lying on my desk. And so I grabbed that and inking it up, and then I took it to my sewing machine to add some thread and just add some texture, to the page. So when I was laying things out, I wanted to pick up on some of the tan and yellow creamy colors that were in the, um, focal point on the left hand side, as well as the paint on the page. And so I picked up some kind of like brown colored tissue paper to put down. And before putting all that down, I wanted to add some stamping on the background, just again to give it some more dimension and texture, and layers, because the more layers, the better, in my opinion. So you'll see me mixing up a little bit of white and a little bit of fluorescent pink to make a muted pink. I wanted to kind of bring in more of that color to highlight the rose that was in, on the left-hand side, and just create a little bit more balance of the colors. So just coming in with my paintbrush, making some marks on the pages, and then coming back, you'll see as I continue here, just adding little details to the page. So here's my finished page. I hope that you maybe got some tips and tricks and some inspiration for your own art journaling. And thank you for watching and stopping by. Let me know if you have any questions or anything you'd like to say in the comments. Again, thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day. Happy creating.